This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be happy. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, or meeting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be happy. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world.
Over to you, Ajahn, if you
Okay, great. Thank you, Chris. So we'll make a start with the meditation instructions, and we'll experiment with a new theme tonight, a new meditation theme. So, many of you are familiar with loving kindness and compassion, and a number of the more sort of common, say, fluffy type of practices that we do, but sometimes, especially when life gets a bit tricky or difficult, we may have to say stabilize or balance the mind with equanimity practice. And the reason, like equanimity being developing the perception of both myself and all beings are the owners of their actions, are the owners of their karma. And so, what's the purpose why we do this? Why do we develop this attitude, the perception of myself and others being responsible for one's personal karma, personal, say, responsibility, the way we move, the way we live our lives? Because one thing that you see with the meditation practice is that it's not the vast majority of us have a reasonable state of mind, maybe half the time. We definitely see improvements in peacefulness, tolerance, kindness, understanding. There's a lady who who works as one of the administration officers at my mother's nursing facility, and she meditates for an hour a day, which is pretty solid. And she is able to handle the quite an excessive, say high level level of say responsibility and duties, and it makes quite a big difference for herself. So with equanimity, the actual effects of it, and equanimity and all these other practices are not necessarily, they're not foolproof, because your mind is very, very complicated. Your karma is incredibly complicated. Multiple lifetimes, multiple connections with people, family and friends, and people at work, the people that you network with, and these people are going to trigger you, and they're going to make you aware of oneself. They're going to bring up different feelings and different responses, which may be say pleasant or sometimes unpleasant. So, but in what equanimity, the purpose of equanimity is to, in essence, is to say stabilize the mind. Bring about a state of say emotional balance, stability. A more sort of detached, accommodating, spacious kind of attitude, because you develop this mood. It's a more refined feeling, where that even if things aren't going so well, or if people around you are a bit difficult, or maybe they've insulted you or offended you in some way, that it can be a practice which can really take the edge off, say, difficult moods or experiences. Because sometimes, I heard one senior monk from England actually state that when things get a little bit tricky or difficult in one's personal life, that when everything else fails, then you do the equanimity practice. But it all depends on your disposition, because some people, can get very, very good results with loving kindness and compassion, which have, at least half a dozen to a dozen, what would you say, effects, principles, which you give rise to. So what would you call favorable results which come from that practice, especially loving kindness, compassion. They have. I could think of even half a dozen things off the top of my head, but it's something which goes quite deep in the personality. It takes the rough edges off many difficult emotions. But as this other particular teacher stated, that when everything that you have in your toolbox is not working so well, then you fall back on equanimity, where you can get some emotional stability, some distance from your emotional experience when things get tricky. Because sometimes we may feel that we are victims, or people are they're rude or offensive, or they're this or they're that. But the thing is that when you have this attitude of the Upekkha, the beings are the owners of their karma, you have this mentality that this person can they can jump up and down, and they can say this or that, but in essence they're fully responsible for their behaviour. They're basically going to reap the results of that, and so you don't have to worry too much about them, because karma will take care of them eventually, whether it's sooner or later. which is guaranteed. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. In my own life, no one gets away with anything at all. So, but in essence, so you're looking at this reflection, and what it does, it sort of helps to free you from getting, say, like emotionally entangled. You get that like a little bit more distance, a little bit more detachment, and it's like a more sort of spacious mentality. I had this experience come up where there was stuff with my brother's girlfriend and my mother, like in the past, and I felt that she really didn't really make an effort to sort of communicate with my mother and get along. But the thing is, she gets along quite well with my brother, but not necessarily with my parents, myself. But once I did this equanimity practice for like several days, I had this very accommodating like attitude towards her. It was like that, she's a person who's conditioned, who has her own karma, and I've never seen this kind of experience before. But I had this very almost like accommodating, receptive kind of mentality, a lack of, say, like non-resistance, acceptance, and as a friend of ours said previous, that she's never, even though she's not very sociable at all, that she's never really harmed your parents or you, which is quite correct. But I had this feeling of acceptance towards her, which I have never ever seen in like 30 years, and just in several days. And I thought, this really, it has some very, very interesting effects. So you've got this ability to move through life and just, I wouldn't say float. Float may be quite a strong term, but the ability to rise and fall with emotions and with conditions and with the people around you, because you just cannot control the people in your world, and you can't even control the thoughts and feelings you have in one's own mind. So with equanimity practice, you have this attitude of almost like sort of acceptance, benevolence, of karma, which is incredibly complicated. And because even if you have a tiff with one of the monks in the monastery, you could have stuff in the past. You could have wronged them in the past. You could have ripped them off, cheated them. Almost anything is possible. And then something comes up, and you just feel insulted, offended. But these things don't basically happen by accident. There's a causal basis why this person is like rude, ignorant, arrogant, and you were just trying to be humorous, just joke around, and then they start shouting, and they're offensive, and you think to yourself, where does that come from? But there must have been something in the past which triggered. There must have been some stuff between you and them in the past, and then it just blows up again. So you've got a situation where the conditions just repeat themselves, and so you think to yourself, you really don't want to be going through that kind of nonsense again and again and again and again for, like the rest of one's life, or another 2 or 3 or 4 lifetimes. The smart thing to do is to disengage, to disentangle, is not to go in that direction. Some people don't have a sense of humour. Some people don't want to joke around. They've got their own stuff running, might be very intense, serious, this and that. There could be issues, and they're not in the mood. They're not receptive. They just do not want to, say, play along and have a joke. So in essence, when something goes wrong, or someone blows up, or this or that, you're actually repeating the conditions, very, very likely, well over half the time, even more than that, you know, you've gone through the experience with that individual, very likely, previously, maybe in a past life, because, you know, with karma is a conditioned process. You know, you're looking at a causal factors when something happens. You know, things just don't happen by chance. You know, you just don't get like lucky and unlucky and you know, something incredible just falls into your lap, or you get opportunities, or you get cancer, or you know, you lose your life at, you know, you're only like 18, 19 or 21, 22, and you just lose your life tragically with absolutely no warning at all. I mean, you know, these kind of extreme, especially these extreme experiences, they just don't happen by chance. You just don't get unlucky. It's meant, you know, this kind of stuff, it's meant to happen. You get whacked, you get taken out. You know, I mean, these things are sad and tragic, and they're painful. And, you know, they're not to be underestimated at all. I lost my own father in February, and it took me, you know, it really shook me up for about 6 weeks. And I was very close with my dad, and when he died, and, you know, I'm still doing all this stuff now, all this financial, legal stuff now. It's just going to go on for 12 months. But, you know, when I lost him, then I realised just how much he had done for my mum, my brother and I. So with karma, it's not to be underestimated how deep it can go. You're looking at multiple lifetimes, 10, 20, 30 lifetimes, just over and over and over, you know. That's the way karma like works through you, through your body and mind. But the key principle is with karma that you need to be wise. You've got to develop like an understanding, some insight, and actually feel this process out, and you know, gain some insight for your welfare and benefit as you move through the course of one's life, because we just don't know how long we're going to be, you know, like on this earth in this particular life. You know, just because you're a monk in the monastery, you know, doesn't mean you're safe, doesn't mean that you're blessed and you're going to be, you know, I'm going to be with you guys for another 5 or 10 years. It's just not, you know, there's sometimes something comes up, and, you know, 3 months, 6 months, your time's up, and it's time, you know, it's time to say goodbye, so to speak. But in essence, the vast majority is like to focus on say like a good quality lifestyle, positive relationships, rewarding relationships with our family and friends, which in essence is the wholesome way to go. Is the wise, the sensible, the beneficial approach to one's life. You don't want to be going through life, you know, angry, hating people. It just hurts you again and again and again and again. So some people, you know, it's like that horse, you know, in that sutra where the horse has to feel the blade of the whip, and has to be hit, you know, again and again and again and again, and before they wake up, it's just too painful. I just can't take it anymore. So. But the thing is with karma, I mean, some people can have, with their underlying disposition, strong hate or anger, and it gives them energy. You know, it like fuels them, and it gives them a sense to live, and, you know, people to hate and this and that. But it hurts you, and you know, it can make you sick. It can shorten your life. So the vast majority of us as Buddhist people, we orientate towards the positive, that which is beneficial, which is kind, loving, wholesome. You know, that is a far more beneficial, a far more wise and skillful way to live, because every single move you make, you know, every second that you move in the course of your day, you're making karma, you know, and this karma has like a causal basis, and it's like a recording which is just running and running and running, and it has an effect. So one has to be quite careful, because it goes, you know, what goes around comes around, and so you get this kind of circular principle. So whatever kind of energy you project towards other people, that you project out in one's life, it's going to come full circle. So even though, even if you're a kind person, sometimes people will rip you off and cheat you and maybe disrespect you and stuff like that. But I've been in this situation multiple times, and it's the way of the winner. You might lose a little bit, but you win. When you treat people kindly, you're respectful, you're patient. People appreciate it. Some people may not understand immediately, but I've had people really go out of their way, open doors for me, giving me opportunities, this and that. And you don't get this kind of thing if you're rude, disrespectful, you rip people off, that kind of thing. You get disadvantaged. So, but in essence, that is that principle. Whatever that you project out in your world will return to you. So, if you project, the good, like a wholesome state of mind, that's what will come back to you in a small or very, very significant way that you can see, quite clearly. Okay, so what we'll do now is we will move across to the equanimity meditation, and we will use a reasonably sharp but comfortable focus, and the feelings of the sensations where we focus around the mouth. And the reason we do this is because the sensations are very, very strong, very, very clear, distinct. You can track those feelings quite clearly from second to second, if your mindfulness is reasonably sharp. And it doesn't give you like excessive tension in the face. When people go to the nose tip, one pointed, it can generate a little bit of excessive tension in the face, in the muscles around the eyes and in the forehead. So what we do, go around the mouth, was quite comfortable, very clear, and we repeat this mantra. And what we'll do is, with the mantra, we will go to all beings. We will go to the maximum range so you can see clearly the effect. So we'll maximize the strength, and we'll go out to the maximum boundary with the equanimity recitation. So as we breathe out, the words are all beings. Breathing in, leave the space, are the owners. Breathing in, leave a space, and breathing out, of their karma. So the mantra in total is all beings are the owners of their karma, or all beings own their karma. So you have a space between the words, all beings own their karma, as you breathe in and out, focusing around the mouth. So with the beginner's instructions, we sit comfortably, make sure there's nothing tight around the waist, the wrists, around the throat, and make sure you are sitting upright and your back is straight, and you can breathe fully into the chest. And so we will do this particular meditation for 30 minutes. And so make a start and close your eyes and just relax all the muscles in one's face. So just consciously relax all the muscles in the face, around the eyes, in the forehead, and then just drop down to the chest, relaxing the muscles in the chest, and the muscles in the left arm, the right arm, in the tummy area, and the buttocks, relaxing, relaxing, and in the left leg, left foot, right leg, right foot, and just maybe allow the body just to sink just a little. Just imagine you're sinking into that nice fluffy cushion or that nice comfortable chair, which I've got at the moment. Just sink into that comfort, that softness, with this like soft, easeful, relaxed bodily posture. And do the mantra as I explained, focusing around the mouth. And I'll talk this meditation through the session with you guys as we go along. So as the meditation develops and you recite the mantra, try to recite the mantra in a way which is very relaxing and spacious. So as the meditation develops, just see if you can see maybe like a cooling, a more spacious kind of mentality as the mind becomes a little bit more detached. So as this meditation develops, just see if you can see an increase in the level of space in the mind, possibly like a deepening of the mental state. So we're coming towards the end of the meditation now, so just see if you can see an increase in the space, the detachment in the mind, maybe possibly a quietening of the mind, releasing of attachment. I'll ring the bell 3 times. You can open your eyes when you're ready. So do you guys have any questions on the meditation at all? Some of you falling asleep. Gotcha. Okay, so I don't know if there's no questions. Do you want me to talk about anything in particular, Chris? Does anyone have a topic or a talking point at all?
Ajahn, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so you talked about can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. You talked about this when breathing and focusing on a particular area, and you mentioned it helps avoid some of that facial tension. And I'm wondering if you could speak about this being able to watch the breath, the rise and fall, without controlling it, and maybe does it relate to this facial tension also, or what that is about, and how to work with that?
With meditation process and the way it affects the physical body, it depends on the makeup of the person. And even the anatomical structure of the body and the sensitivity, the emotional, physical sensitivity of the person, sensitivity to stress and discomfort. But from one person to another, some people may be quite comfortable with, say, at least maybe even several hours a day, but with some individuals, once you go up to like 4 or 5, say like on personal retreat, maybe possibly Jhana Grove or anywhere else in the world, you'll feel a tightening, a contraction of especially the muscles in the face. And because the thing is, when you're looking at the structure of the muscles around the eyes, the muscles in the forehead, between the eyes, around the cheeks. It's usually when people feel tension, facial tension with meditation. It's usually a bit high. It's usually around the eyes, between the eyes, and in the forehead, because as you're mentally focusing, the vast majority of people, their focus tends to be a little bit more high in the body. You can focus, say, on the belly, say like with the Burmese approach, Burmese Satipatthana, rise and fall, and that will help draw attention away from the facial area, which can be helpful. But even when you drop down low, many people can reach a point where if they're doing hours each day, if they're doing like 6 to 8 hours, or even up to say 12, or even easily even up to 12 hours a day with the Goenka retreats, and which are quite what's the right word? Quite intense, and so even focusing on the tummy, you'll still feel that tension in the face, and it's like you get psychological tension, the emotional tension, and because your mind affects your body affects your mind, and even if you do massage or acupressure, all this kind of stuff, it can help a little. But even for myself, easily once I go up to about 4 or 5 hours a day, I feel it every single time, and there's absolutely nothing I can do to stop that. So with you just if you're only comfortable with 2 hours, 3 hours a day on say meditation retreat, that's all you should be doing, because you can't necessarily overcome that. There's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes maybe people can take Panadol if they're in a situation, they're on a Goenka retreat, they're on a high pressure retreat, and sometimes Panadol can take the edge off the pain, but the body's telling you, the body can only take so much focus, so much tension, so much mindfulness training, and then it starts to get uncomfortable. So, but with meditation practice, you really have to you really have to pay attention to a sense of comfort and ease, because you don't want to push yourself into a state, push yourself excessively, where the body and the mind start to get uncomfortable. It's quite obvious. The body and mind is telling you that it's too much. We've got monks in the monastery who like the big meditators who are comfortable with 8 hours a day, and they're emotionally comfortable. They're still quite easy to live with. They're reasonably at ease with the other community members, but once they start pushing 10 hours a day, which is a lot, and most people can't take that for like weeks or months on end. It's enough to drive some people like almost insane. You don't want that. You don't want that kind of pressure. And 10 hours is quite impressive, but as long as you can handle it, you don't want a situation where you're just exploding on people like on a daily basis, or you're almost coming into psychosis because of the just the emotional intensity. You don't want that at all. You want a sense of relaxation, ease. You don't want a situation where you're just banging yourself against your head, banging your head against the wall again and again and again, because it hurts. The Buddha, when the Buddha spoke about the Four Noble Truths, there is suffering, there is the cause. So if you're suffering excessively, you have to see, you have to look at what you're doing and basically make some correction, or possibly maybe stop a particular approach. Make changes, ease off. But, because you're doing this business for a long time. Most of you guys have been going absolute minimum, probably 10 years plus at least, some probably 20, and virtually every day. So you're on a you're in what do they call it? You're in the club, so to speak, and So and the thing is that you're in it for the long term. All of us want to be here after another 20, possibly 30 years, if we can live that long, because consistency is the key. You get some people who are quite strong, and they can really put a lot of effort in and this and that, and it reaches a point where they either break, or they can't take it, or the practice is so painful, it's so emotionally and physically painful, they just can't take it, and they give up and they walk away. Even for myself, there's no way in the world I could do 8 hours a day. It's just beyond me. So my attitude is like softly catchy monkey. You want to be practicing within a comfortable parameter till the day you die. That's the sensible, wise approach. You don't want to be like some kind of soldier in the Dhamma. If you're strong enough, if you can take it, it's all well and good. It's like the forest masters of old. It was like a 10-12 hour day is just a normal day for these people, whether it's male or female. And sometimes in retreat, in Panza, they could push like 16 hours a day. They could maybe sleep for a maximum of 4 hours, no more than 4 hours maximum for any of these people. And they're all putting their lives on the line, but the vast majority of us are not like that. We're not that strong. We can't take it. For some people, it'll kill you. I've seen people who get really suicidal. You want to push 8-10 hours a day, and you really want to take your life. You're not messing around with this kind of business. So, the main thing is like long-term, maintain a sense of comfort, ease. The thing is with samadhi is samadhi is about like deep relaxation, ease, comfort, letting go, not pushing, using force and energy. That's not the way it works. When you're talking about deep samadhi, jhanas, you're looking at deep letting go and relaxation. You can push these things, you can do it with force, but the key thing is detachment. To get jhanas, you've got to have wisdom. To get deep samadhi, you've got to be wise. Have insight. Any of the lay practitioners who get really good meditation is because they've already got the insight established from the last life. Usually the last life, because it's got to be close and very firm. It's got to be firmly embedded in one's mind, and that's the reason why, whether it's the lay practitioners, the monastics, their practice goes very well, is because they've put the work in previous. You just don't get lucky. It just doesn't fall into your lap. You've put the work in easily, 10, 20, 30 years, or maybe a full lifespan. You come into this life, your practice just takes off. Everything's just so easy. You're moving very quickly within the groups, maybe on retreat. Good experiences, but you've worked for it. You just don't get lucky, so to speak. So, and having this, the sense of, Ajahn Brahm's very good with this kind of mentality. Very light, friendly, humorous, positive, optimistic, energetic. But that comes from the depth of the attainment, the depth of the practice, that kind of energy, that wholesome, positive, altruistic kind of energy. Where you're giving, you're laughing, you're happy, and you're constantly giving, with a smile on your face, and you never get really fed up with people, tired of the endless stuff that you have to deal with in a very senior position of great responsibility. And this is the test. This is the what's the word? This is like the test between people who have really good quality practice, and for people who have average practice. Because I've met abbots who are super smart. They're PhD. These guys could do a PhD and not even sweat. But emotionally, it's difficult. They're constantly tested. They get upset. They get threatened. They get angry. And it's quite clear that the meditation, as smart as they are, as fantastic as the Dhamma talks are, They may be keeping a very good standard, good standard. They put in minimum 3, 4, 5 hours a day, but you know they're easily upset. You've only got to say the smallest things; they blow up in your face, and it's because the meditation, it's not really together. But with the vast majority of us, no matter what level we're at, the vast majority of the long-term Buddhist practitioners, they're doing their best with what they have. But my attitude is, you know, after 26 years, is you're running a marathon here. You're not sprinting. The vast majority of people are not strong enough. You're not tough enough. You're not strong enough to go full on for 5 to 10 years. The vast majority of people, 90 something, you know, maybe 99%, 98, 99% of people can't do it. You're not Superman. You're not Wonder Woman. You know, it's only the monk, the old forest masters, the female practitioners, of old in the forest tradition, you know, were quite prepared to put their lives on the line. You know, living out in forests infested with malaria, wild animals, you know, big snakes, tigers, leopards, bears, all this kind of stuff. You know, they weren't messing around, and some of these people were getting in. I mean, they were reaching the first stages of enlightenment in 5 years, which is incredible. Say spiritual development, underlying, you know, underlying development. So you know, all these things have a causal basis. You know, it just doesn't fall into one's lap. So. You know, but for many people, minimum 10, 15, 20. And, but the thing is that, you know, it's that same thing, you know, consistency. You keep yourself in a comfortable range on a daily basis, and you just don't stop day after day after day, you know, for months, for years, you know, on end. And that's the way you get good results in the long term. You know, it's like the snail and the hare. You know, slow and steady wins the race.
John, that sounds very, very good advice. Slow and steady wins the race. I really like that. I was wondering, in these times, a theme that's come up in the group has been how we can deal with anxiety, especially in COVID times, because it is causing a great deal of anxiety for many, many, many people. I was wondering if you would be happy to comment on that.
What I would tend to do is, if say for example, if I was suffering from anxiety, to sort of keep myself in touch with other people. And the feeling was pronounced, and it was there every day, you know, with these whole COVID dynamics with money and employment and being separated from one's loved people and partners and whatnot, and all the other complications which were involved. The first thing I would tend to do, in order to really penetrate and to really get a feeling sense, and to get some depth and relaxation and release of that kind of emotional energy, is to breathe fully into the chest. So if I'm suffering from anxiety, and I can feel it in my guts, in my tummy, and you know, I mean, I had that for 3 months straight when I was at home, and you know, all this whole financial legal stuff. But what I tended to do was to breathe. You know, at the end of the day, I would breathe into the chest, all the feelings. I would focus on the full chest and make myself fully aware of all the sensations, the feelings in the upper, middle, and tummy area, and I would focus on the full chest as one object. You know, between the throat and the belly. So I'm breathing in and out of the full chest, relaxing the physical body where that anxiety is essentially playing out. So you know, I've got my mental awareness, you know, usually up a little bit higher, but because of my mind state and my attitude, the energy is actually working through my physical body. So it's not something I've really really thought through in a major way, but you get a situation where you're up in your head and you're doing stuff, and there's pressure and there's demands and there's like time frame and all this kind of stuff. But you feel the emotion, the impact of this mental stuff. It's working through your physical body, and your physical body is telling you that you're getting stressed. You're getting you're getting anxious. You're worried. You're concerned. There's all these other maybe secondary feelings tied in with that. But the body's telling you quite clearly that that I'm uncomfortable, and I'm suffering, and I'm in a degree of pain and discomfort, and the body's telling you there's something wrong here. Sometimes it affects the digestive tract. You just no matter what you do, you just can't improve the health of the digestive tract for weeks, months on end. And but what happens is, with that attitude of relaxation, breathing into the full chest, breathing through those feelings, getting a real sense of it. I'm feeling the anxiety. I'm focused gently on the anxiety. I'm penetrating the anxiety. I'm relaxing it. I'm loosening it, releasing it. Letting go. So, because what happens is, if I have a feeling up high in the mind, if I have a physical feeling in the body, and I don't pay attention to it, if I don't have a sense of awareness, understanding, like a feeling tone, if I don't really understand how I feel, that feeling will tend to persist. The feeling is telling me. This feeling of anxiety, especially when it comes out, and when it's up high, you can feel it up top, or especially in the body. The body's telling you there's something wrong. There's something you have to pay attention to. You have to address, because if you don't, I'm not going away. I'm going to be with you for months or years on end, until you basically start looking and understanding and getting a real a sense of feeling tone of exactly what this thing is. So we're looking at it, we feel it as a sensation, but you're looking at like energy, dynamics. You've got this energy like playing out in this body, which can be muscular tension, which can be that sense of discomfort. The tummy just never feels right. You just can't digest your food properly. There's diarrhea. You're going to the toilet. You can't stop this. It doesn't make any difference what you do. It won't stop. So the essence is, you've got to be aware. You've got to place. It's like if you have a feeling, an uncomfortable feeling in the body. It could even be in the kidney area. You have to focus gently on it, and you breathe. It might sound a bit odd, but you breathe through the kidneys. Your breath runs through the meridians in the body. It runs through the chi circuitry in the body. You have oxygen flowing through the chi network, feeding the kidneys, the liver, the stomach, the lungs. There's networks of energy, of oxygen, of physiological energy moving through the body. And so you just imagine breathing through, saturating, becoming physically aware of the sensations, and drawing energy, to that area. Because as the Qi Kung masters and the Tai Chi masters say, when discomfort and disease arises in the body, pain, it could be emotionally based, it could be cancer, it could be something which is very, very pronounced and quite serious. But what they say is, when there is obstructions with chi and energy, then you will see disturbances in the body. You'll see you will see pain, and you will see a rising of some disease process. So, but the thing is, by placing your attention on the area concerned, you're increasing your understanding, you're increasing your awareness, and you can explore it. It's like there was a very good book I read years ago called Focusing, where you place your attention on that trouble spot, on that place of difficulty in the body, and you place your attention on it. It's like a samadhi awareness technique. A full 60 seconds, and then you switch to vipassana, and you develop an understanding. Where is this feeling located? So I'm doing this like a gradual process. Where is this feeling located? It's located, say, on my right side of the body, the lower abdomen, on the near the kidney, and then I stop. Then I focus again for another 60 seconds on the feeling. Feelings are very, very important, because feelings make you aware. They make you, they help you learn. They help you understand what's happening through you, through your mind and body experience. And then you focus again for another 60 seconds, and then you go deeper with the investigation, the understanding. What is this feeling? How does it, the sensation? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it painful? Is it aching? And describe the feeling to oneself. And so after you've exhausted the second round of investigation, then you focus again. You're increasing the awareness, the depth of the penetration, the understanding, and then you focus for another 60 seconds. So I keep going back, and I keep increasing my awareness, my bodily and emotional based awareness. And then after 60 seconds, then you place your attention on the feeling again, and you go deeper into it, and you go back and forth between samadhi and investigation, in the way the Buddha explained. And eventually you'll reach a point where, the way this Buddhist therapist explained, you reach a point where there's like a sense of release, relaxation. There is a drop, what would you call it? So like a relief from the pain, the discomfort, which will tell you that you've reached a breaking point. You've reached a point of release, of letting go, of understanding, and of let's say like at least a certain level of resolution, because the problem is dissipating. It doesn't mean that it's just going to disappear, because it could be something which is really quite serious. It could be even the blood supply with the kidney could be it could be disturbed. It could be restricted. There could be a stone. There could be cancer. It could be something very, very serious. But at least you're investigating back and forth, and you're increasing one's understanding of exactly what one is happening. Because I had one therapist tell me once that she had one client who had cancer, and she was able to bring about a reduction and a gradual resolution, and like 90% recovery. 90% recovery of the cancer. The cancer just shrunk and was the size of like a little pea.